One of the things we haven't talked about is simple syrup, sweet and sour, and some of the other sweeteners used in bartending. These are really popular ingredients. Simple syrup is easily the most popular bartender sweetener in the world. Agave syrup you see a lot in margaritas, like our jalapeno margarita. And sweet and sour is used in tons and tons of drinks. So we're gonna take you in, show you how to make simple syrup, sweet and sour, and also educate you on a lot of the other sweeteners used in bartending. Let's get started. If I was trying to sweeten a drink, why can't I just take a tablespoon of sugar and just stir it in? I'll show you why. So on the right, we have vodka. On the left, we have water, and I have sugar cubes. Watch what happens when I drop these sugar cubes in. A cube of sugar dissolves really easily in water. In alcohol, not so much. It's gonna be a while. That is why we have other ways to sweeten drinks. Simple syrup is in daiquiris, mojitos, gimlets. It's a really common bar ingredient, but it's a really simple ingredient. It's simply 1 part water, and 1 part sugar. We heat these two together, and once the sugar's dissolved properly into the water, it's now called simple syrup. Guys, as I wait on this to reach a boil, let me just point out something. Real hardcore purists in the world of alcohol do not use volume to measure ingredients. So they're not gonna go 1 cup, 1 cup. They prefer to go by weight. So they would use, let's say for instance, 10 grams of sugar, 10 grams of water, and that is how they get their perfect mix. However, the vast majority of us do not have a scale in the kitchen. So feel fine to do it this way, and just know most bars you go to are not using a scale. They're going by volume as well. So guys, once the sugar is properly dissolved, turn stove off, let it cool down, and then you can bottle it. So once you get it cooled down enough, grab a little funnel. If you don't have a funnel, you just have to have a really steady hand. So this simple syrup is just a 1-to-1 ratio sugar to water. That makes this 50% sweetness, okay? Now, there's also a rich simple syrup, which is 2 parts sugar, 1 part water, and as a result of that, it is sweeter. It's 66.6% sweetness. And with simple syrups, bear in mind, you do not have to use white sugar. You could use brown sugar, you could use demerara sugar, you could even use Splenda or stevia. It's really up to you how you make your simple syrup. In order for this to keep, you have to put it in the fridge. So in the fridge, it'll last about a month. If you add in a tablespoon of vodka, you could probably get about 3 months out of this. Now we're gonna make sweet and sour, or sometimes as it's referred to, sour mix or sour. Don't get confused by the name, it's the same thing. And you see it in drinks like Long Island iced teas, Adios. A lot of people put it in margaritas. Some people put it in whiskey sours or amaretto sours, depending on who's making it. And it's really simple because it's simple syrup that we just made, fresh squeezed lime juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice in equal parts. This is easily one of the best sweet and sours you've ever had. Now I begin with my simple syrup. Beautiful. My lime juice. And now my lemon juice. Seal this up. Give this a nice shaking. Bang. Sweet and sour. Some people might put egg whites in there. Egg whites don't change the taste per se, it changes the consistency of it. So if you want to experiment with that, you could put in some egg whites, give that a nice shaking, and see how you feel about it. But I'm good. This right here, this is perfect to me. Guys, when refrigerated, this is good for about 2 to 3 weeks, so you can mix away. The next sweetener we have is maple syrup right here. And sometimes you see this used in old fashioned. Some people like a maple syrup old fashioned. They prefer grade B typically. But maple syrup has the same amount of sweetness as a rich simple syrup, about 66.6% sweetness, somewhere around there. Next up, we have agave syrup or agave nectar, although it's not really a nectar. And it's used a lot in margaritas, palomas. The sweetness on this is 75%, so it's really sweet. And it's a fast-acting sweetness because of the fructose. So the minute you taste it, you know, the sweetness hits you and it disappears quickly. This pairs well with citrus, which is why you see it used a lot in margaritas. Last but not least, we have honey. You see honey used in drinks like bee's knees, which is gin, honey water, and lemon juice. Notice I just said honey water, not just straight honey. The reason being is that honey is very thick. It's very viscous, and it's difficult to dissolve. Okay, a lot like trying to dissolve a cube of sugar in alcohol. So what we do is we create a honey syrup or honey water, just like simple syrup. So you would use 2 parts honey, 1 part water in a saucepan, heat that up to get them to bond together properly, and you use that as your sweetener as opposed to just squeezing in straight honey that's difficult to dissolve. And there you have it, the 2 most important ingredients when it comes to mixes: simple syrup, sweet and sour, and then we get into our sweeteners: maple syrup, agave syrup, honey, everything you need to make your drinks. All right, guys? So mix away, stay tipsy.